6 celebrities who overcame heroin addiction. 1. Robert Downey Jr. When Robert was 6, his dad introduced him to weed. The next 30 years were a roller coaster ride. Robert got addicted to heroin. He was in and out of rehab. He spent some time behind bars. Still, Downey managed to make a name for himself. In Less Than Zero, he played a heroin addict. He later admitted the role felt like an exaggerated version of himself. Then he became an exaggerated version of that character, but he's been clean since 2003. Downey credits his wife with helping him kick the habit. 2. Steven Tyler. The Aerosmith singer was addicted for years. Tyler and Joe Perry, the band's guitarist, were dubbed the Toxic Twins. In the 1970s and 1980s, it got out of hand. Still, Aerosmith continued to dominate Billboard charts. Tyler hit rock bottom in 1988. He found himself at the center of an intervention. His loved ones encouraged him to go to rehab. Tyler relapsed several times, but he's been sober for the past 13 years. Tyler says it's the only reason he's still alive at 75. 3. Demi Lovato. Lovato's rise to fame as a children's TV star was perilous. The actress began using cocaine at 17. At 25, Lovato was hospitalized due to a heroin overdose. This was after celebrating 6 years of sobriety. Lovato has since made major changes in her life. Referring to her addiction, she says,
"What I've learned is that this illness is not something that disappears or fades with time. It is something I must continue to overcome."
4. Corey Feldman. Feldman's acting career began when he was 3. In the first few years of his life, he had more than 50 roles. As a teen, he began to spiral out of control. Feldman co-starred in The Burbs with Carrie Fisher. She reached out and tried to offer help. Many years later, Feldman admitted,
"She saw the darkness that was growing in me, but I didn't understand it at that point. I didn't know what was coming. Carrie looked into my eyes and saw the pain and recognized it."
He was arrested multiple times for heroin possession in the 1990s. He finally overcame his addiction through a long-term treatment program. 5. Eric Clapton. Clapton was severely addicted in the 1970s. At one point, he spent $16,000 a week on heroin. Clapton thought that if he could afford it, it was under control. But then it was too late. When Clapton finally kicked heroin, he didn't choose sobriety. He switched to cocaine and alcohol abuse. In 1982, he finally checked into rehab. Clapton never relapsed, even when he lost his 4-year-old son. Instead, he channeled his pain into his music. Tears in Heaven became one of his biggest hits. 6. Nicole Richie. Nicole was raised by Lionel Richie. Her parents couldn't afford to provide for her. Nicole grew up in the spotlight. When Lionel broke up with Brenda Harvey, it hit her hard. She turned to heroin as a way to numb the pain. Her name was smeared across tabloid headlines. That was even before she made a reality show with Paris Hilton, The Simple Life. Thankfully, Richie left heroin behind. She's remained clean after her possession charges in 2003. Nicole says she uses her past as a teachable moment for her kids.
"Everything is out there, and I have no choice but to be honest with them. And you know what? That is very freeing to me."